Welcome back. Sorry. Welcome back, guys. This is King of Weebs here, and this is what if Naruto met the Sage of Six Paths earlier. And this is part 3, finale. And we'll get straight into it. Last time we left off with Naruto actually going into his 2.5 years training. And during this 2.5 year training, Naruto would learn a lot of things, as Jiraiya would actually go on to teach him Sage Mode, since Naruto is already quite capable of doing a lot of things. Also, Naruto and Jiraiya develop new Rasengan types. For example, Naruto's already been developing one with the wind style, and Jiraiya decides to do one with the fire style. And anyway, of course, Naruto and Jiraiya create two different ones. Naruto creates the Rasen Shuriken, and this was all in Mount Myoboku, as Jiraiya thought it would be much safer for Naruto to be there than train there than training in the outside world, or not in the outside world, or in the wilderness where they could actually bump into the Akatsuki. Anywho, of course, the two also learn each other's one. For example, as Naruto would teach Jiraiya the Rasen Shuriken, and Jiraiya would teach the Scorching Rasengan to Naruto, and the two would also learn how to combine the two, but it would require a immense amount of chakra and control, which both, certainly do have. And then Naruto would also go on to create a Vanishing Rasengan, and also add that on top of his Scorching Rasen Shuriken, which is quite overpowered right now. And then Naruto and Jiraiya would do Sage Mode training together, and in the process Jiraiya would actually gain perfect Sage Mode. And then Naruto, once he achieved it, his Mount Myoboku training was over, and it's been around 1.5 years at this point. And the last year, Jiraiya actually tells Naruto to go and train on his own. Jiraiya is quite confident in Naruto's abilities, and he believes that Naruto is 100% able to go up against Akatsuki members at this stage. And Naruto will then go on to train on his own, and most of the time when he's actually out there in the wilderness, he's actually doing small jobs for people for free. He's not taking any commissions, he's just doing what's good. And Naruto made a name for himself, and he was actually put in the bingo book. At first, they didn't know who Naruto Uzumaki was, but once the Kazekage actually came to know, he actually just smiled and says, take him out of the bingo book, as the sand and the leaf didn't have him in the bingo book. But of course, the cloud actually saw how Naruto fought, and they actually didn't put him in the bingo book, but they did put a flea on sight, and we all know who had that before. And then of course, the Tsuchikage sees this from the Raikage, and he's quite worried, as this kid resembles Minato no Mikazu quite a lot. Blonde hair, blue eyes, just the whisker marks are quite different, and their physique seems quite similar. Of course, Onoiki does mention this to the Raikage, but the Raikage says it's impossible. There was no recorded childbirth of the full Hokage and his wife, and there is no way. And then of course, the Tsuchikage still thinks over this, but Naruto would then go on to actually meet Roshi, who would actually teach him how to use lava release properly, and actually improve on his taijutsu, which was quite lacking in Roshi's standards. And then once Naruto learned how Roshi standards, and he could actually defeat Roshi in a fight from the very beginning, but he treated Roshi just as he treated anyone else, the Hokage, his sensei, and his master Jiraiya. And then Naruto does warn Roshi of the Akatsuki and tells him to go to his village. However, Roshi declines, saying that he's already an old man, and his time is short, so he wants to live his life how he wants it without having any regrets. As of right now, he's living in peace, and if the Akatsuki comes and takes him, he won't give himself up that easily. He'll fight till the end, and if they capture him, it is what it is. Of course, Naruto then actually snaps back saying, it's not what it is, it's not only about you, sir, it's also about other people. If the Akatsuki gets their hands on all the Nine-Tailed Beasts, this world will be over. You need to understand that you are part of a greater scheme for the Akatsuki. They want to create something stronger. I can feel it. The Nine-Tailed Beasts are just pawns. They're just sacrifices, worse sacrifices, to create a monster that could ravage this world. Of course, Naruto seems quite concerned, but Roshi actually, snaps him back out of it and tells him, hey, you kid, listen here. I believe that you won't be captured. As long as you're still alive, this world has hope. You'll be something great, something stronger than the being that you're talking about. I promise you this. I'll fight to the end. And you promise me this. If I die, you won't be captured. Understood? And of course, Naruto actually says, you old man, do what you want. But just give me a call if you ever need help. Of course, Naruto leaves Naruto actually leaves Roshi with a crow. Yes, Naruto actually came to the same conclusion as Itachi during his last year of training and traveling, that crows are quite distracting in a fight, and whenever they fly around they catch people's attention, and this can be very useful in a fight. And so he actually creates the crow substitution, and he hears about Itachi Uchiha being able to use it too, and he thinks about it. He remembers actually Itachi using it against Sasuke, as Sasuke tried to use a lightning blade and the lightning hound and tried to, pierce him, but of course clearly didn't work, as he turned into crows and then appeared behind him. And anywho, now Naruto says that if he ever needs to contact him, he can just write a little note and tie it to the crow, and the crow, once it's released, it will come straight to me and I'll see it. Roshi actually says alright, and the crow always remains with Roshi for the next 6 months, as Naruto now goes off and trains more. And this training is more of a spiritual training, as Naruto comes to in terms with nature, which actually helps him increase his not nature, but of course he wants to come to peace with himself, and before fighting the Akatsuki, before fighting Sasuke to bring him back, and before fighting whatever is waiting ahead of him. And anywho, now another 3 months pass, and Naruto actually has unlocked something that he's never thought of unlocking before. When he actually went into Sage Mode for the first time in a few months, I'd say around a good 3/4 of a year, Naruto realized that it's something different. His Sage Mode is stronger here. He actually realizes that he can sense much further than what he could sense before. Even further, before he could sense quite a lot, but now he can sense a lot more than what he could do before. And then now Naruto would actually then realize that his Sage Mode is different, of course, and he connects with the Nine-Tails and asks him, what's the difference between this Sage Mode and the other one? Kurama actually looks closely and sees that Naruto's pigment, or the pigment around Naruto's eyes, are gone, and he tells him that Naruto's confused and asks him, what does that even mean? And of course the Nine-Tails actually chuckles and says that this is 6-path Sage Mode. He's tapped into the 6-path Sage Mode. However, this is a temporary thing. He won't be able to keep it for a while, for too long, as it's fading away. He can feel it, and he'll only be able to access it once again once he comes in turn with all the Nine-Tailed Beasts. Of course, Naruto sees no way of doing that, and so he just gives up on it. And as soon as the pigment is returned, Naruto's sensory abilities decrease drastically, and he realizes just how powerful that Sage Mode was. Of course, this gives him an idea as he remembers reading a book about this first Hokage who had wood release, and just saying Naruto's now a master of a wood release. And he had a sage mode, but it wasn't any kind of summoning sage mode, it was just sage mode. And of course, he asked the Naruto, as the Naruto is pretty much a history book, and he says that his sage mode was wood sage mode, and it's something beyond Naruto's imagination, as it's very strong, and to be honest, you could actually be just as strong or even stronger than told sage mode. And then Naruto would actually spend the last few months trying to tap into this power, and he actually briefly does, as he actually absorbs a lot more nature energy, and the pigment around his eyes go from orange to blue, but then they return to orange, as the Naruto tells Naruto that he nearly did it. And then right before Naruto left again, the Naruto asked when is he going to fight Naruto, and Naruto says, I can't fight you until I return Sasuke to the village. Once I do that, then I'll truly fight you on a one-on-one battle, and then we'll see who comes on top. If you do, I'll allow you to roam free in the world, even kill myself in the process. But if you do not, you can roam around free in my mind. Of course, the Naruto says that the second option is better for both of them, and he doesn't really mind staying in his mind, even if he wins. And then Naruto just smiles at him and says, alright. And then Naruto is actually heading back to the meeting point with Jiraiya, and it's actually 2 weeks away from where Naruto is, and luckily there's 3 weeks, so Naruto would stay a week in the town. On his journey, Naruto actually comes across Itachi, and Itachi actually fights Naruto. Itachi was actually alone in this mission, as he was just doing a solo mission real quick, and then he was returning back to the Akatsuki hideout, and then he encounters Naruto, and they get into a little fight, and Naruto actually activates his Sharingan, and of course Itachi is baffled on how Naruto has the Sharingan, but Naruto actually tells Itachi that he needs to stop this, as he knows everything about Itachi, and he tells him that it's not worth making Sasuke hate you. It's better for you to tell Sasuke the whole entire truth, just like your mother knows. And of course Itachi then says that it's too late. This is what he's decided on. And then of course Naruto actually snaps back and says, do you really think it's all about you and Sasuke? Have you ever thought what your mother ever thought of? You know how much pain she has to go through every time when she thinks about both of you, that she knows that one of you will die in a fight when you're fighting each other. Think about it. How about you try to make amends with Sasuke and tell him the whole entire truth? Then Sasuke might actually return to the Leaf Village, maybe even go up against it, but his mind could be changed. So why don't you try that? Of course, Itachi actually starts coughing out blood, and Naruto realizes Itachi's illness, and he actually sits him down, and Itachi says, he apologizes to Naruto for, having to take care of his own enemy, and Naruto says it's fine, it's whatever. Anyways, he's used to taking care of people anyway at this point. And then Itachi actually smiles and says, you're quite strong, aren't you? And then Naruto then says, yeah, I guess I need to get stronger, that's for sure. And Itachi actually laughs, saying, what kind of power are you seeking for? And Naruto then actually already knows what kind of power he's seeking for, and says something to rival the Sage of Six Paths. Of course, Itachi laughs at Naruto, saying, how could you even rival the Sage of Six Paths? And Naruto says, I'm being serious, just look at this. And then Naruto's eyes go from blue to red to purple, and then into a Tomoe Rinnegan. And of course Itachi's flabbergasted. He's like, just what kind of power is this? But Naruto actually goes out of it, and he's breathing heavily. He actually coughs out some blood, revealing that him just trying to go into this state of this state of power is beyond him and beyond his body as of right now. Of course, clearly Naruto has not met the requirements yet. Although he has universal understanding, he still sometimes makes mistakes. And He knows most things, not every single thing in the universe. Otherwise, Naruto would have easily passed the Jonin exams, and the studying bit at the end of Naruto Shippuden wouldn't be too much of a drag for Naruto or too much work for Naruto, as Naruto would already know it. But clearly, we know that universal understanding isn't about that. And then now it's mostly about understanding more about ninjutsu and more about a fight, to be honest. I'm not sure how to explain it, but universal understanding allows you to understand a lot of things. For example, how to use your powers better. And then now Naruto actually then uses some of his healing abilities to actually heal Itachi, and a slight, a mark appears on his hand temporarily, and Naruto instantly heals Itachi and his eyesight back randomly. But then Naruto actually falls to the ground unconscious and wakes up 3 days later, and Itachi is actually caring for him, and Itachi asks what did he do. His illness is gone, his eyesight is restored to max, and Naruto says he truly doesn't know. He just felt some power and some healing ability just come surging out of him, and he wanted to try on Itachi's lung disease or his respiratory disease. And then now, of course, Itachi was thankful and tells Naruto that he will change and he will tell the truth to Sasuke, and tells him the exact date and where to meet if he wants to be there to see everything. And Naruto accepts and tells him that he will be there. And then Naruto would then actually rush towards the meeting place with Jiraiya, as although he'll still be around 2-3 days early, or maybe even 4, he still wants to be there early because he just wants to relax. He's done enough missions, enough training. He just wants to relax and just make a tour of the little town. And then now Naruto does exactly what he wanted to do, and then Jiraiya actually arrives with some major information about the Akatsuki and how they're going to start their moves soon enough. And Itachi would still have to fake that he's part of the Akatsuki, as this is exactly what he's been doing for the past few years. And Naruto returns to the village. During this time, of course, the Kazekage still gets stacked, but here Gaara is quite strong, a lot stronger than in the original, as he's actually been motivated by Naruto's strength and trained a lot harder. Although he had duties, he would find time for both things, and sometimes even delay duties over, to do more training, as protecting the village itself from a physical attack is more important than paperwork right now. And potential attacks are at a quite high risk, especially because of the Akatsuki, him being a Jinchuriki, one of the main targets of the Akatsuki, and also since there are many hostile villages around them, and many villages are not allies with the Sand except for the Leaf right now. And then now, of course, Naruto would find out about Gaara's capture, as both Sasori and Deidara had to fight a bit together. Although Deidara could have just blown up everything and just caught Gaara, but of course Sasori didn't allow it, as he said it's too reckless and he might actually kill the Jinchuriki, and they'll have to wait like a decade, who knows, maybe even 1,000 years for the Tail Beast to return, and this would destroy their plan. And then now, of course, they capture Gaara, and Naruto, once he gets the news about it, it was actually after the bell test with Sakura, and the two were much stronger here. And of course, the third Hokage actually was watching with Konohamaru, and Konohamaru always wanted to learn from Naruto. Naruto gives him the water balloon training, which would teach Konohamaru how to use the Rasengan. Naruto would give all 3 steps, as Konohamaru would take a little while, although he's much stronger than in the original already, because the third Hokage was there in retirement training Konohamaru. Anywho, now Naruto and Team 7 would head towards Gaara's the Sand Village, and Sakura would heal Kankuro, and Chio would join them, and Chio would actually change her mind about the Leaf and the Sand's fake alliance and realize that this alliance might be actually the new frontier, literally, and a completely different era. And Naruto and the Naruto's generation will be leading this new revolutionary era. And anywho, now into this new era, of course. And anywho, Naruto finds Gaara, of course, still dead in the end, and this pisses off Naruto. And of course, no chakra leaks out of the Naruto's, but still Naruto pursues Gaara's body that Deidara took away. Although Deidara was quite injured, still Naruto's well, he was actually still quite fast, which made Naruto very, very irritated as he couldn't get Gaara. And Kakashi was with him, and Naruto said that they need to cramp up the speed, and Kakashi says it's fine, he's been training too, and takes off the weights that he was wearing and actually throws them away. He says that he can buy new ones, and they both blitz, well, Deidara, and kick him off of his dragon, and Naruto actually rips apart the dragon, catching Gaara and shedding a tear, and then looking at Deidara and actually walking towards him with killer intent. And Deidara stood still. Well, he was actually crawling backwards as he was scared of Naruto, and he couldn't really react anymore. Naruto was walking towards him, and with a look in his eye that meant Deidara will not survive this. And then Naruto actually kneed him in the face, and then actually kicked him away, which then he actually threw a scorching vanishing Rasengan, which actually exploded. And the scorching vanishing Rasengan, or the scorching Rasengan, would actually create a explosion, and this could actually hurt the user itself, but sometimes it's actually a delayed explosion. So at first it would be just like a normal Rasengan, and then an extra explosion on top of that because of the combustion of the fire. And then now, well, it'd basically be a normal Rasengan with the fire release added to it, to be honest. But anywho, now, of course, now Naruto would see would see Deidara still alive, and Naruto says that it's over, and he actually impales him with wood release and absorbs his chakra, and Deidara's body wrinkles up, and Naruto says that's enough, and Kakashi says that's enough. The body could be useful, and Naruto says this body is no longer useful. Clearly, it's just scrap. As he says that, Naruto actually burns Deidara's body alive, and then puts the fire out, and they head towards where Sasori was fighting Chio and Sakura. This fight would end exactly the same way, just that Sakura is a lot stronger and dealt a lot more damage here. And anywho, now, of course, they still get the information about the meetup with Orochimaru, and here, of course, Gaara gets revived by Chio as Chio gives up her life. And anywho, now, of course, Naruto, Sakura, and Kakashi, who didn't have to use his Mangekyo ability here, and also Yamato just in case, with Sai, and would join Team 7 to go pursue Orochimaru, as this is considered as an S rank, or an S rank mission, as this is to do with Orochimaru and bringing him to justice. And anywho, after all the crimes he's committed over the years, over the decades that he's been out of the village. Anywho, now, Naruto and Team 7, Team 7 would actually, the fight against Orochimaru against Naruto would ensue as per normal, just that there is no full tails here, and Naruto was actually fighting Orochimaru one-on-one, and as they were fighting, Naruto says, this reminds me of the old days, and of course Orochimaru smirks and says that this time he won't lose, or he won't be outdone like last time, as he's in his real body now. And Naruto says, real body or not, you will lose to me, and I will bring you to justice. And as he says that, he smashes Rasengan so fast into Orochimaru that he doesn't even notice that Naruto moved. And anywho, of course, Orochimaru escapes with Kabuto, but that wasn't Naruto's plan, as now they followed them with Sai as well, Sai actually being a spy again. But anyways, now they find Sasuke, and Sasuke breaks the hideout destroys the hideout, and Naruto and Sasuke have that little talk again, and Sasuke tries to enter in Naruto's mind, but he's met by the Narutos as the Narutos told him to fuck off. And of course Sasuke was shook by this, and Naruto said Sasuke return to the Leaf Village, and Sasuke declined, slapping his hand away, and said that although Naruto got stronger, Sasuke is much stronger now, and he could even kill him right now. And Naruto says, Naruto actually doesn't really say anything, as he's just disappointed that he wouldn't return, but he knows that he will still meet him again with Itachi this time. And he knows the perfect person to bring with them, of course, that being Mikoto, who has actually been training quite just a little bit. And then now, of course, Naruto actually, now during this time, of course, Team 10 would still lose Asuma, and Naruto during these 2 weeks, he will actually be formulating, a plan to actually bring back Sasuke, as he could see Naruto would formulate a plan to bring back Sasuke, and he knows that Sasuke might go up against the village, but he already has a plan for that. In case Sasuke does go against the village, he will actually bring Danzo to justice, as Danzo is pretty much the mastermind behind half the things. And anywho, now, of course, now Naruto would hear about the thing with Team 10 and how they need the extra support, the being annihilated, and Naruto would be alerted late, as they didn't think that Naruto would be needed, but of course they actually completely missed out the part that they were versing an Akatsuki member. Naruto was actually prohibited from going at first, but of course Kakashi and Jiraiya made an argument against it, saying that Naruto is more than capable enough to take out Akatsuki members easily, one-on-one, even 2-on-1 probably. Naruto is just that strong at this point. Naruto would then go and see what happened to Team 10, and he couldn't really do anything, and he apologizes to them as he was late. He tells them that he'll take care of the rest, and they should go to the village and rest up. And Shikamaru's like, I'm not going, I'm going with you, and he's like, if you want, but I said that I won't be needing your help. I'll destroy them on my own. They're after me and the other Jinchuriki. And so Naruto and Shikamaru would go, as the other two were way too, they were heartbroken and they just couldn't do it anymore. And so Naruto would then go with Shikamaru, as the rest of the joining remained. Kakashi wasn't there yet. They were actually behind. Naruto went as fast as possible because he blamed himself for not being there for them. And anywho, now, once he arrived, he saw who killed Asuma, and he wanted to kill him himself, but Shikamaru said that he'll take him on. And the same thing with Shikamaru and Hidan happened, whereas Naruto told Kakuzu to prepare for death, as he's not gonna let him go like the first Hokage did. And Kakuzu was surprised, as Naruto, someone his age, would actually know about that fight. And Naruto says that he made some research and he realized that one of the Akatsuki members was an assassin that was sent by a village to assassinate the first Hokage. A pretty crazy mission, as the first Hokage was the god of shinobi, but still, that must, if you survive, that must mean that you either were strong enough to escape and smart, or the first Hokage had mercy, and I'd probably go for the second one. And anywho, Kakuzu actually laughs, saying that although he had mercy, it doesn't mean that he's weak. And Naruto says, well, to me you are. As he says that, he's already in front of him with the Rasengan ready, and he looks at him dead in the eyes, and smashes it into his chest. Kakuzu goes flying, and he takes quite a lot of damage here. Naruto just keeps walking towards him, and Kakuzu, for the first time, he feels fear. Well, not for the first time, but he can see the first Hokage and the pain once again in Naruto. But anyways, Naruto resembles fear to Kakuzu, and so he lets out all his 5 hearts, and Naruto says it's futile. Even if you have 5 hearts, I'll destroy every single one of them, one by one. You will feel pain. As he says that, he actually sees pain in front of him, and then, out of nowhere, Naruto creates 4 other clones, which take out their hearts easily, with ease, literally, not even a fight. Naruto just goes in front of them and recycles them, or just uses a fireball jutsu, something like that. Anywho, Naruto just keeps walking forward, and then looks at Kakuzu and then says he's sorry for doing this, but he's the one who brought this upon himself. And as he says that, he impales Kakuzu through the heart with a wood release jutsu, and Kakuzu actually starts laughing and coughing out blood, saying that after all, this cursed wood release came back to get me. And then he dies on the spot, as he has not much time, and Naruto takes his body back for research, and Shikamaru is done with his fight. And then now everyone mourns his Asuma's death, and now Naruto is quite pissed off, and he realizes that the Akatsuki are dangerous, like they're a menace, like holy. Of course, everyone mourns Asuma's death, and Naruto was pissed off at himself, and he realizes that the Akatsuki are a menace. They are a danger to society, literally. And so he goes to Tsunade and says that he wants to go and hunt down the Akatsuki on his own. Of course, so Tsunade declines, as he's the biggest target of the Akatsuki, and calls him a fool once again. And Naruto says, I've always been a fool, and I will always remain a fool. I will leave the village to go hunt them down. I have Itachi Uchiha on my side. We've taken down 4 of the Akatsuki members. So the Akatsuki is pretty weak, and we have information from the inside. We'll just destroy the Akatsuki from the inside out. Tsunade already knew about Itachi and everything, but she still said no, and Naruto said, alright, then I'll have an appointment with Itachi, and I need to take, Mikoto Uchiha, as in 3 days, Sasuke will meet Itachi. And of course, at this point they already knew that Sasuke killed Orochimaru, or that's what they thought. And now, of course, the fight against Sasuke and Itachi still went on as per normal, just as Itachi had massive advantage here. And Sasuke stood no chance, and Naruto and Mikoto were still allowed to go see Itachi, as it was quite close to the village. It was actually in the Uchiha hideout. And of course, Mikoto knew the way perfectly there, and Sasuke and Itachi actually began their fight. Naruto saw everything, and Itachi won the fight, and Sasuke said, "Oh, you're not gonna kill me," and Itachi shows him the whole entire truth. And then once Sasuke wakes up again, he sees his mother and Naruto there, and he says, "I'm going to destroy the village." And as he says that, Naruto says, "You shouldn't. It wasn't the village who did this. It was Danzo. Maybe destroy him and let's bring him to justice. Then everything should be fine." Well, not really, but still. And of course, Itachi leaves the Akatsuki, and Tetsu sees this, and Mikoto doesn't want the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, and so Itachi and Sasuke still switch their eyes. And during this time, it's been a week or so, a week and a half, and Danzo has actually been taken away by the authorities, as there was way too much proof to actually pin him down, and the route was actually destroyed. Sai actually became good at this point. Naruto talking to Jutsu, and then now, of course, Team 7 would be reunited, but at this point, Obito and Kisame already captured Killer B, as Sasuke was in there. Team Taka was never formed. Sasuke left alone, so Team Taka was never formed here. Although the 3 actually knew Sasuke, and they were quite good friends, and Sasuke did want them to come to the village, and he did contact them, and they did return. Orochimaru actually came out of the curse mark of one of his subordinates or something like that, and now he would then go on to actually pursue Sasuke's body, but that wasn't going to happen that easily until the Urok, and he was formulating a plan. And now, I'm sure you guys can see where I'm going with this. And now, of course, Pain would still attack the village here, and Sasuke and Itachi would be out of the fight instantly because of their eye transplant that they just went through, and Naruto would have to go up against Pain alone, because Jiraiya is actually outside the village right now, and he's already been alerted. But Jiraiya was making his way back, and Naruto would 1v1 the 6 Pains and pretty much destroy them. Even Tendo Pain didn't stand a chance against Naruto. Naruto temporarily used his Rinnegan to actually pull Pain as he pushed him away, and so Pain was pulled with Naruto, or pushed with Naruto technically, as Naruto was pushed away and Pain was pulled towards him at the same time. And then Naruto, as soon as Pain arrived next to Naruto, Naruto punched him right in the face, sending him straight to the ground. And since there's close range, Pain doesn't have the 5-second cooldown, enough time for his 5-second cooldown, and Naruto then says it's over, Pain. And as he says that, he actually Rasengans him in the chest. He doesn't destroy the Pain, and then now, of course, the connection between the Pain and Nagato is gone, and Naruto finds Nagato and Jiraiya on the way as well. And Jiraiya and Naruto go to Nagato, and Nagato actually tells him everything. And here, of course, Nagato was never able to actually use his all catastrophic almighty push, as once Pain actually entered the village, Naruto actually felt it. Naruto felt the disturbance in chakra. He felt that there was a new chakra, a menacing chakra, and he wasn't having it. And so he went to fight him straight away before he could even attack any of the villagers. And of course, the Pains fought it out, and the villagers in that vicinity were taken away. And of course, Naruto would destroy them. Of course, that little place was destroyed, and Naruto couldn't really do much about that. But now, of course, they talk no jutsu him into joining him, but Nagato says that there's no point. He cannot, he can't really join them at this point, as he's already half dead. And Naruto says it's fine, Tsunade can still heal you, and you'll be a massive, a good asset to the Leaf Village. And of course, Nagato was convinced at that point. And Obito, who's had enough, Obito was gonna do all the work himself. We can argue that Obito could actually take on most of the Akatsuki one-on-one, of course, not all together, because teamwork would come into play. But anywho, now, of course, he would take away one of the Renegades and say this is more than enough, and he actually declares the 4th Great Ninja War here. And of course, he then says that, of course, now Obito actually goes to every single Shinobi village, saying that he declares the 4th Great Ninja War against all the villages, or especially the Leaf Village, to gain the Nine Tails and destroy the world as they know it. And of course, all the Shinobi villages came to an understanding that this is bad. This is really bad. If the Nine Tails gets taken away, now the Akatsuki will have all 9-tailed beasts, and they would stand no chance. And of course, they would still make the alliance. And here is where, Kabuto and Orochimaru would come into play. Kabuto would still get that little Sage Mode thing, and he believes that he became a dragon at that point, but we knew. And anywho, of course, they did the reanimation jutsu, and that was just chaotic as hell. And Naruto still went to where Killer Bee went to fight the Nine Tails. The Nine Tails, had a hard time fighting Naruto, especially because Naruto, during these 2 years, during the past few months, secretly has been training on the Flying Raijin, and Nine Tails knew that, but he never thought that Naruto would master it, as when he was sleeping, Naruto would spend most of his time doing the Flying Raijin. Remember, Naruto has a copy of remember, Naruto actually has a copy of the Flying Raijin scroll, as he found it in the Hokage's office, and he stole it, and the third Hokage was allowed it, as he was actually covering for Tsunade one night. And he's like, go on, take it. It's not like you're gonna do anything bad with it. And anywho, Naruto actually he didn't destroy it, but he returned it. And anywho, now Naruto will actually go up against the Nine Tails with his Flying Raijin. And anywho, this will come into play later on. And anyways, now Naruto and the Nine Tails would have a good fight, but Naruto would be the clear winner here. And Naruto did promise that he won't lock the Nine Tails, and that's why he actually destroys the key. And he says that he won't lock the Nine Tails, as now he has no key to actually release him. And the Nine Tails was confused. At first he's like, oh shit, he broke the key, I'm going to be locked forever. But no. And then he now, as he not broke a normal key, but broke the ceiling key, and then or the unsealing key, I'm not sure what it was. And then now, Naruto would actually then meet his parents on his way out, and they would be proud of him, and Naruto would actually shed some tears, finally finding out that he had parents that loved him and everything. And then now, they did tell him everything, but Naruto already knew most of the stuff that they told him. And Naruto already has someone in mind to marry, and he says that they could meet her. He wishes that they could meet her, and anywho, now the Naruto would join the fight, and here both the Raikage, pretty much the Raikage and Tsunade were against Naruto. Naruto would be able to easily take them out, but he shows them his the sheer amount of speed, as the Raikage still thought that the fourth Hokage was the child of prophecy or whatever, and he was the savior of the world, and he's dead. So there is no savior here. But Naruto then actually shows off his speed with the flying Raijin and says, was that the technique my father used? Well, I have it too now. And I pretty much have the same kunai, just a little bit orange. And anywho, now, you could imagine the flying Raijin kunai with a bit of orange on it, and orange tint on the handle. And anywho, now, of course, Naruto would join the Warrock, and here Sasuke and Itachi and Mikoto would actually, Mikoto would actually join the fight here, as she wanted to help out a little bit, as much as she could. She wouldn't use the Mangekyo, but of course she would help out just a little bit here. But anywho, once they defeated Orochimaru and the rest, of course the Naruto, while this was all happening, Naruto's clones were fighting reanimations, and the real Naruto was fighting all the other 8 Jinchuriki, except for Gaara, who's still alive, and he was a platoon leader with the Tsuchikage. And then here now, of course, the Tsuchikage having his own platoon, and they were just together. But anyway, now Naruto would then annihilate all the Nine-Tailed Beasts, and actually, meet them in the Nine-Tails or in the Tailed Beast little conference thingy, and they would meet all the Jinchuriki, and he would remember Roshi. He would actually go to hug Roshi, and yes, Roshi here, he would actually be here unlike last time. But anywho, Roshi did tell Naruto that he would fight till the end, but he couldn't beat Kisame, as Kisame was the one who captured the Roshi, not Itachi. As we know in the filler, that Itachi was just waiting, and Kisame said, this guy was pretty hard to fight. I was about to kill him at one point. And anyways, now he doesn't say exactly what I said, but we move. Now, of course, Roshi tells Naruto that he needs to defeat this Madara Uchiha guy, and he needs to bring peace to the world. After all, that is his dream. And everyone actually supports Naruto and gives him their chakra. And Naruto is one step closer to unlocking everything that the Sage of Six Paths gave to him. And anywho, now Naruto would then go to fight the Ten Tails, and because Obito and Madara decided to unleash the Ten Tails, although they don't have the Nine Tails. Just a little bit of the chakras was enough, but they could have done this from the very beginning. But anywho, now of course Naruto would fight them with Guy, and at first it was just Obito, and they would fight that with Guy and Kakashi, but then Madara would join after defeating the 5 Kage, and of course here, Itachi and Sasuke would make Orochimaru join his side, and then Team Taka would be reunited. Well, not Team Taka, but the original four of Team Taka and Hemi would come together, and they would actually go to help the 5 Kage, except for Sasuke, who would actually go straight to the battlefield with Itachi, and Mikoto would actually want to go, but the 2 sons were like, no, you're not going, you're going back home, and we don't care, and Kabuto would be taking her. And anywho, now, of course, Orochimaru would revive the 4 Kage when he was actually going to the Leaf Village. Yes, he was escorting Mikoto as well. And anywho, now, of course, he would actually go to find the Reaper Death mask and how to reverse the seal, and then he would bring back the 4th Hokage. That's it, because the first and second weren't sealed by the Reaper Death seal like in the original. In part 1, they were just sealed away by Naruto like a normal person would do. But of course, at that time, the Hokage didn't really have many sealing genes, especially for that. But Naruto did. The winners would release. And anywho, now the 2 Hokage, the first and second Hokage would remember a kid would release, and they would ask about it. And Orochimaru actually smiles, and he says that kid is now fighting Madara Uchiha, and he'd probably be stronger than him. at this rate, at this point, but who knows. And they were really surprised, and Minato was just like, that's my son right there. And the three Kage would actually, not the four, I said four, but it was an accident. The third Kage was already fighting, and the three Kage would go, and the four original Kage would reunite, and they would still use their little four trigram. Wait, hold up, let me search it up. Ninja art, the four Crimson Way formation, and then now the fight would go a bit similar to the original, but Naruto would be much stronger and less deaths would happen because Naruto's nine toes and well, would protect them straight away, and Naruto would use many wood clones to help him out. And then now, of course, Obito would still become the 10 toes Jinchuriki, and here Naruto would have to fight him with Sasuke, and Itachi would actually join them here, as he would create a seasonal armor on top of the seasonal armor that was on top of the Naruto's. And then now, of course, the Naruto's now would have the Yata mirror as well, which wouldn't be doing much, as Obito had the true seeking orbs. But now, of course, Naruto has had enough, and he's using everything that the Sage of Six Flags has given him, and he says that Sage of Six Flags has visited him once, and he uses on one eye, he actually uses the Rinda Sharingan, and the other one would remain normal. And then Naruto doesn't understand why it's only on one, but he doesn't really care, it's better for him. And then now Naruto will actually then destroy Obito, and then they would take out the other tail beasts, but Madara would catch Naruto off guard and everyone else and take the tail beast for himself, as he now was reanimated fully because of Obito reanimating him. But Naruto was actually just on the floor, breathing heavily, as he thought the war was over pretty much, only Madara was remaining, but they didn't know that Obito would be controlled by Zetsu to reanimate Madara, and now Naruto was dead. But of course here, Naruto and Sasuke meet the Hagoromo again, and Hagoromo says, I'm surprised to meet you again, Naruto. And of course Naruto says, it's not my fault, allow it. And Hagoromo says, well, I have just a little bit of power remaining to actually unlock everything that I was meant to give you, but I actually left a little lock on there, a little seal that I wasn't going to unseal yet until I met you again. I was going to visit you in a few years, but I guess it was a bit earlier. And then he actually unlocks all the powers that Naruto should have gotten from the very beginning, as his body is now ready for it, his mental state and everything, and Naruto feels the difference in power, and he has that Sage Mode once again, and also he has the true seeking force. Of course, now Sasuke would get his Rinnegan Sharingan, and Naruto and Sasuke would destroy Madara, and pretty much Madara has to use the Infinite Tsukiyomi, which Naruto actually uses his own Susanoo to protect Obito and Kakashi, while Sasuke protected Sakura. Those were the only people that they could save. By now, Naruto would then go up in the air to destroy the meteorites, as Sasuke did in the original, but this time it was Naruto, as Sasuke actually kind of tried to fight Madara. But now, of course, Madara gets betrayed by Zetsu into becoming Kaguya's host, and Kaguya would be reanimated, and now Kaguya would take them to her dimension. But what she didn't realize is that Naruto is much stronger than her at this point. Well, not much, but just a little bit, because of him actually saying that that's enough, he's had enough, and pretty much he uses everything that he had. He uses all the tail beast chakra, and with the true seeking orbs, as he never lost a single one. He actually didn't even have to use them pretty much. The limbo clones, Naruto, of course, he had to use them there, but they returned to him. And then now, of course, Naruto actually uses his true seeking orb to actually create a katana and use boil release, and pretty much he blitz Kaguya by actually throwing a kunai so fast she didn't even notice it was there at that point. Of course, once he landed, she looked down, but then she saw that everything spinning around, and that was because her head was spinning around, as Naruto actually cut it off, and he wasn't going to have it. He wasn't going to allow Kaguya to do anything at all, but Kaguya didn't actually die. Naruto got the Karma Seal, and I know the fight was kind of anticlimactic, but anywho, Naruto would actually go and heal Kakashi's eyes, but Obito stopped him and actually gave back one of his eyes to Kakashi, and Obito had no eyes at this point. Well, of course, he had one of the Rinneguns, but because he actually Obito would actually have both his Sharingans here, as Madara would have took Kakashi's Sharingan, and then of course Obito gave back the Sharingan, and now he would have one less eye, but Naruto actually healed it, and of course then Obito's like, alright, thank you, and anywho now of course Naruto would actually heal Kakashi's one too, and Kakashi's eyes would go, one of them would be black, of course they would both be black at this point, and Naruto was confused, but then Kakashi thought of something and he tried channeling chakra to his eye, and the Sharingan just appeared again. At this point, Naruto was confused on what he did, but then Hogoromo summoned him again and summoned him back as he realized that Kaguya has been killed somehow, and he sees the curse mark, not curse mark, the carbon seal on Naruto, and he actually wants to ask, Naruto asks what he's done to Kakashi, as now Kakashi can activate and deactivate his Sharingan, and he says that, well, Kakashi, you actually changed Kakashi's DNA in his eyes, or now he can actually use the Sharingan as an Uchiha. And Naruto was confused, but he just goes with it, and he's like, yeah, I knew what I was doing, 100%. And anyways, now, of course, this would be the end of our story. Everyone would go back to their normal lives. Mikoto would have her two sons back. Naruto would actually marry Hinata eventually after the Toniri thing, and that would be much easier here. Itachi would actually become shogi partners with the Hokage, and anywho now of course Itachi wouldn't really have a partner since Nagato and Conan are together, and anywho for now I'm going to leave him shipless, and actually I'm gonna ship him with Shizune. Hey, instant ship. But anyway, so I hope you all enjoyed it. Please take care, stay safe. This was the King of Weebs. Hope you all enjoyed it. Please take care, stay safe. This was the King of Weebs, and my backlings, you're dismissed, and peace.